So today we're taking a look at one of the Mythic only dungeons in Battle for Azeroth, namely Siege of Boralus. So I'm gonna go over all the boss fights and a little bit of the trash so you have a heads up and know what to expect if you want to try out Siege of Boralus. And if you like these kind of videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave me a like, and let's get on with the video. So a quick run through of the first boss, Sergeant Bainbridge. So when you start the fight, he has 2 adds up and they will spawn again during the encounter. The tank needs to pick them up and make sure to face them away from everyone else due to the Colterian Vanguards. They have an ability called Heavy Slash, deals a lot of damage and stuns anyone hit for 4 seconds. And the other ad just deals damage at random. So this boss will randomly pick a target with his Iron Gaze and fixate on that player for 20 seconds. The player gets fixated, needs to kite the boss around and try to avoid him catching up. The boss starts at 75% reduced movement speed due to his heavy hitter. Kiting the boss gets progressively harder due to his Boiling Rage ability, which increases his movement speed by 5% every 2 seconds. And this buff can be removed by kiting the boss over bombs during the encounter. And after 20 seconds of kiting, he will use Hangman's Noose on the target who was kiting him, preventing them from using spells or abilities, as well as pull that player to him. And it also deals a bit of ticking damage. And as soon as he's done with Hangman's Noose, he will do a 10-yard wide AoE that deals damage and knockbacks players caught in it. And during the course of the fight, he will use Cannon Barrage. It spawns purple circles all over the map, and anyone standing in the purple circle when the bomb falls down will take a shit ton of damage and get knocked away. And the bombs that spawn have a timer. When it expires, everyone takes a shit ton of damage. So to deal with this, you either kite the boss over the bombs or the tank runs over them. So if you kite the boss over the bombs, he will instead take the damage and get stunned for 6 seconds. And if your tank runs over it, he will instead take the damage, but he doesn't get the stun. So make sure to detonate all the bombs before they expire. So moving on towards the second boss. So there's some trash between the first and the second boss. There's nothing too rough about it. The only thing you might want to take note of is the Ashvane Commander. First of all, he has Trample, a big purple cone or line that stuns anyone hit. So just make sure to move out of it. And you gotta watch out for Bolstering Shout, an uninterruptible cast which reduces the damage taken by 45% of anyone hit by it. However, it is dispellable. And on your way to the second boss, there is a tiny gauntlet you need to get across. So the NPCs around will keep firing across the docks, and if you run over while they are firing, you take a metric shit ton of damage. You can run when they shout "reloading", or you can hide behind the boxes if you don't get over in one go. And for the second boss, we have the Dread Captain Lockwood. So first thing to take note of is Gut Shot. So if no one is meleeing her, she will use Gut Shot on a random target, they will take a bit of damage and they will get a dot. Next thing is Evasive. And this didn't seem to be enabled when we did the boss, but she will try to run away from melee combat if not snared or root. So either it wasn't enabled or the slow from my consecration worked as a snare. And she has a frontal cone, so make sure to turn her away from any other player. When she reaches full energy, she will return to her ship. 3 adds will spawn, 2 deckhands and 1 cannoneer. So the deckhand needs to be faced away from everyone due to a frontal cone, and the cannoneer fires their cannon, dealing damage to everyone in its path. And during this phase, the captain will also fire Dread Volley over the area. Deals a lot of damage, so just move out of the swirls. So this phase lasts until you've killed the cannoneer and picked up his cannon. Using this cannon, you can fire at the ship and the captain will return to you. And then phase 1 starts over. So between the second and the third boss, there's quite a lot of trash to deal with, and some of them was pretty damn annoying. So first all, we have the Bilshrat Demolisher. They have a uninterruptible fear that lasts for 4 seconds. Line of sight or pray for a shaman with Tremor Totem. They also have a frontal cone that does a lot of damage and stuns you. And then we have the Bilshrat Buccaneers. They drop bananules on the ground, and if you run over them, you get stunned for 2 seconds. Then we have the Cutthroats. So they have an ability called Rotting Wounds. Make sure to interrupt it and or keep them stunned. Last out, we have the Ashvane Invaders. They have a nasty venom that stacks up fast on the tank, so keep them stunned and be ready to dispel. So let's take a look at the third boss. boss, Tidal Fathom. So this is a pretty straightforward fight. He uses Crashing Tide, a frontal cone that deals some damage and leaves a pool on the ground. Just face the boss away from everyone else and not into the statue. Secondly, Breakwater. So he spawns circle on the ground, anyone who stands in them will fly up and take some damage, and they also leave pools on the ground. And lastly, we have Tidal Surge. It's a big ass wave that can spawn from any direction. And if you don't want to die, run away and hide behind the statue. And this is why you want to avoid having pools near the statue. And when Tidal Surge is done, it will take away every pool that is up. And then we can take a look at the last boss. So for this one, you don't fight the boss, you fight his tentacles. So throughout the fight there will spawn one Gripping Terror and one Demolishing Terror. So the Demolishing Terror needs to be tanked, otherwise it AoEs everyone, kinda like Destructor Tentacles in Moth Souls. Now the Gripping Terror has a Cold Tyrian Engineer in its grasp. So when you kill these tentacles, you free the Engineer and he proceeds to repair a cannon. And after a little while, the cannon will fire at the boss, and this is how you eventually kill it. It took us 3 rotations of cannons to defeat the boss. And when you move from tentacle to tentacle or cannon to cannon, you need to avoid going into water due to terror from below. And if you spend too much time swimming around, you will get picked up by a tentacle. And during the fight you have to deal with putrid water. A dispellable dot that deals a bit of damage, and if dispelled, it deals damage and knocks nearby allies away. And every now and then the boss will use Call of the Deep, a cone-like AoE that spawns a lot of swirls. So that's it for today's dungeon, Siege of Boralus on Mythic difficulty. So all in all, a pretty damn cool dungeon. Will be interesting to see how this scales up in Mythic Plus, but as of right now, I am digging it. So if you like these kind of videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you have any questions at all, hit me up in the comments below, and I will see you next time.